We're the Battle Axes of the Most High, coming back to you on the Thursday morning class of time to stop playing the games. I hope all is well out there with all the brothers and sisters that's getting ready for work, or the plantation, should I say, and everybody that's sleep as well. I know some of y'all probably ain't heard, but we ask that y'all throw some prayers for Captain Maccabees. He was sent to the ICU or whatnot. But last update is so far he doing good. But today's title will be "The Most High Doeth These Things," because like a lot of times people they tend to forget who was actually doing these things. They try to say that the devil was doing these things, but really it's the Most High God that's doing these things. So the first precept we're gonna go ahead and get is Deuteronomy 32 and 39. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39. See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So, really today, I'm just break down each one of these, and give an example like of each one of these things that the Most High God has did. So we're gonna go to I kill. So next precept we're gonna go ahead and get is Exodus 11 and 1. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 11 and verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, Yet will I bring one plague more upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. So we know this is like around the time of the Most High God, he's plaguing Egypt because of all the things that he did, to his people, Israel, of course. Yet will I bring one more plague upon Pharaoh, because this is one of the last plagues that the Most High God brought upon him, killing all the firstborn. And upon Egypt afterwards, he will let you go hence. When he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out hence altogether. Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. So the Most High God, he gave us favor because even though we went against the Most High God, he always had mercy on us, just like how Captain Yara was going into that class last night. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. Shalom, Judah, Israel. And Moses said, Thus said the Lord, about midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt. So this is Christ letting Moses know about the game plan on what he's finna do to the Egyptians or whatnot. And all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beasts. So the Most High God, he's killing the firstborn of everything that's of Egyptian descent, and even his cattle and his oxen, the asses, so on and so forth. He's killing everything of the firstborn. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it. So we ain't never heard no cry like this, but Most High God, he can bring some pain and he can bring some mercy as well. Nor shall be like it anymore. So he letting us know off the rip, it ain't gonna be nothing like that anymore. Like maybe, with Esau and them whenever he come back, because even when we read Revelations 11 and 8, this is spiritually called Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, Sodom and Egypt, should I say. Verse 7, But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doeth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So even like how Ak was bringing out yesterday, we not Egyptian, man. We not no Africans. So y'all need to leave that. Because even when you go into the history of Egyptology or whatnot, they do some homosexual things, man. We ain't gonna get into that, cause you know. But now we finna jump over to Exodus 14, chapter 14 and verse 5. This the book of Exodus, chapter 14 and verse 5. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? Because, you know, the Most High God, he just really, you know, messing Pharaoh's mind up, because one moment he put this on Pharaoh's mind, and then the next moment he tell him, hey, bring him back. Or like he's basically hardening his heart. Verse 6. And he made ready his chariots and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and captives over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So, you know, Pharaoh, he preparing himself, he getting his army ready so he could, you know, go after Israel. And he pursued after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with an high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them. All the chariots and all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea. So we're gonna jump down to verse 12. Verse 12. Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. So, you know, same old Israel murmuring, complaining, talking about it was better for us to serve the Egyptians than to, you know, die in the wilderness or whatnot. But after all these things that y'all done seen the Most High God, you know, do for us, they already, you know, complaining as soon as we got out of it. Because even when we bring it up to today or like in the future, it's gonna be a whole lot of murmuring and complaining when Yahweh shot, you know, hit the scene again. And that's why, you know, he gonna kill a whole lot of us, 2/3, man. But reading on, verse 12. Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, because Moses knew, because at one point in time, Moses, he had like doubts, and he was being fearful or whatnot. But you know, the Most High God, he straightened Moses out, and now once Moses had got his stuff together, then he sent them out, you know, to you know, basically comfort the Israelites or whatnot that was in the wilderness, because a whole lot of them, they were fearful because they basically felt like they was going into this blindly, even though Moses let them know what the Most High God had planned. He said, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. So, you know, Moses let them know, hey, don't worry about it. Most High God got us. Hey, he done did all these things to the Egyptians, and yet, hey, y'all faith is still little. But fear ye not, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. So he said, hey, the Most High God is basically finna kill these people off or whatnot. We know ultimately it's no end of all people, but the ones that's chasing them, we ain't gonna see them no more. So because, you know, this is one of the first captivities that we in, and hey, we gonna basically get out of this captivity and go into the wilderness when you read on. But yeah, verse 13. And Moses said unto the people, Fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them no more forever. Verse 14, The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Read that again. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. So, like, even going into this time and going into, like, forever, man, like, we always got to cleave onto the Most High God. Let the Most High God fight for you. And, he going to hold your peace, whether you're going through some type of sickness, whether you're going through it with Esau, your wife, and so on and so forth. Let the Most High God fight for you. But, jumping down to verse 19, and the angel of God. So I know a lot of people, some brothers, they may think that this is just an ordinary angel, but no, this is the angel, because we know the word angel just means a messenger. This angel that is going to is Christ, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night. So basically, this is the Most High God. He's Christ actually, but he's basically guiding us and like bringing terror up on the Egyptians or whatnot at the time. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. So, ultimately we know it was the Most High God that had, his son open up the sea. And, a lot of people, they probably thought it was just Moses or whatnot, but really the whole time, the Most High God, he was basically the author of opening the sea and everything. So whenever all this had happened, all the Israelites, they walked through, because it was either they was finna die or they was gonna walk through this thing, or like through the sea or whatnot. So jumping down to verse 19, or no, I'm gonna keep reading up. Verse 22. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry land, and the waters were a wall up unto them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. So I know a lot of y'all probably seen what the 10 Commandments or whatnot, and y'all seen basically like what a spin-off of like what happened, because I guarantee you it was way worse than that. And the people was of color, man. But they try to give you white man Moses, and even make the Egyptians white or whatnot, knowing that the Egyptians, man, they black and blue, Africans, period. But reading on verse 24, and it came to pass that in the morning watch the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians. So the Egyptians, hey man, they shaking in their boots, man. They like, man, what's going on, man? They ain't never seen no type of miracles like these that's happening. So, but they still the Most High God put it on they heart to keep on doing all these things, pursuing after Israel, not knowing that they finna fall to their destruction. Verse 25, and took off their chariot wheels, that they drave them heavily. So the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. So the Egyptians even knew, hey, the Most High God, hey, he fighting for them. Because even when you read Judah 5 and 20, he say, hey, whenever the Lord is fighting for, when their God is fighting for them, let our Lord pass on by. So they knew of these things, but yet the Most High God, he playing mind tricks on them. Verse 26, and the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians. Shalom, brother Yaakov, upon their chariots and upon their horsemen. And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength when the morning appeared. So basically, Moses had shut the sea. The Most High God did ultimately, but Moses, he had shut down the sea, and basically it's finna drown the Egyptians or whatnot. And the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. So they were trying to run, but we know how water is, man. Like even with Hurricane Katrina and like any type of hurricane in general, or tsunami, you ain't finna be able to outrun the water, man. Once that water get to coming, hey, it's like you better off just standing there, man, and taking. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them. So the Most High God, he killed them all in one swoop, man, by shutting the sea on them. Because if you ever notice, like even when you swimming or whatnot, after a while, like once you go so far down, because I know I can't swim, but I know once you go so far down, the pressure of that water, it will kill you, man. And I know a lot of them Egyptians, they probably couldn't swim, man, so they died on the spot. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Thus the Lord saved Israel. Read that again. Thus the Lord saved Israel. So this is one of the first accounts of the Most High God, bringing us up out of hard bondage or whatnot, and He saved us. That thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. So even like with whales and different type of fishes or whatnot, once they die, or even a dead body, it's gonna hit the seashore or whatnot, because it's just somehow they start floating up to the water, and the water just drive them wherever they want them to go. And Israel saw Egyptians dead on the seashore. And Israel saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians. And the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. So this is going back to the point of whatnot of the Most High God, of the Most High God killing for us or whatnot, or the Most High killing in general, because He'll kill us too if we play with Him. And like when you read on or whatnot, when we get into the wilderness, He is gonna kill some of us, like in this time and back in the Exodus time or whatnot, because they started murmuring and complaining. So the next precept we're gonna get is the Most High God making alive or whatnot. We're gonna go to John chapter 11 and verse 1. This is the book of John, chapter 11 and verse 1. A lot of y'all probably learned this story in Christianity, man. But verse 1. Now a certain man was sick, named Lazarus, in Bethany, the town of Mary, and her sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment, and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. So this is going into Mary and Martha. Mary, she's basically putting ointment on Christ or whatnot, and because she knew that He was the King, but a lot of them, they said they knew, but they still didn't treat Him like one. Well, those that didn't follow him, but when you read on. But verse 3, therefore his sisters sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. Because this is going to, Lazarus being sick or whatnot. Verse 4, when Yahushua heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God. Because anything that Christ had did, it was the will of the Father. So that the Most High God can shine through all these things. Because even when with Christ himself, he never put himself above the Most High God. He always had a humble and meek spirit or whatnot. But verse 4 from the top, when Yahushua heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of Man might be glorified thereby. Because, yeah, we know that Christ, he does get glory or whatnot, but he'll never put himself, above the Most High. Because, he is the King of Israel. But verse 5, now Yahushua loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. When he had heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days, still in the same place where he was. Then after that, said he to his disciples, let us go into Judea again. Now jumping down to verse 11. These things said he, and after that he said unto them, our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go, that I may awake him out of sleep. So, Christ already knew that Lazarus was finna die, but they had no idea. They just knew he was sick. Then said his disciples, Lord, if he sleep, he shall do well. Verse 13, howbeit, Yahushua spake of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of taking of rest and sleep. So they thought he was just going into ordinary sleep or whatnot, however long a man sleeps or whatnot. But verse 14, then said Yahushua unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. Verse 15, and I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, to the intent ye may believe. Nevertheless, let us go unto him. So, Yahushua, he wanted them to go in there and check on Lazarus to see if he was dead or whatnot. Because, Christ already knew. But reading on. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto his fellow disciples, let us also go, that we may die with him. So, everybody that was close to Nazareth, they talking about, man, I wish I was dead too, man, because, that was a pain to a lot of them, because they held Lazarus, near and dear to him. But, jumping down to verse 21, then said Martha unto Yahushua, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. So Martha saying, hey, if Christ was here the whole time, he wouldn't have died or whatnot, but it was all in the plan. Verse 22, but I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee. Yahushua said unto her, thy brother shall rise again. Read that again. Yahushua said unto her, thy brother shall rise again. Verse 24, Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again, in a resurrection at the last day. Yahushua said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. So, because Martha had that faith that Lazarus could live again, Christ, he was like, okay, I'm going to bring him back. But reading on, and whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? So he asking her a question, basically saying that those that die or whatnot, and it's true, they shall rise up again in the resurrection, or it could be in the regeneration or whatnot. But reading on, she said unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. Yeah, which should come into the world. Now jumping down to verse 41. Verse 41. Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid. And Yahweh lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always. But because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. And when he thus had spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. So this is the most well Christ talking to the Most High God and letting them know that he always know that the Most High God is hearing him whenever he prays or whatnot or like cry to him. And he said, Lazarus, come forth. And Lazarus, when you read on, he gonna basically be resurrected in a sense or raised from the dead, being making it alive. But verse 44, and he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin. Yahweh said unto them, Loose him and let him go. So that's a example of the Most High God making alive. Now going into the Most High God wounding. When you go back to Deuteronomy 32 and 39. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 4, and verse 6. This ain't gonna be that much reading, just two verses. But verse 6. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. Well, let's we're gonna jump up to verse 1 for context. Verse 1 from the top. Well, from the top. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord had not appeared unto thee. So this is the Moses talking to the Most High God, letting them know that the children of Israel, they basically being stiff necked and hard headed or whatnot. And this is also shown where Moses' faith was at the time. Going back into like yesterday's class and like what we was reading early about Israel being fearful hearted or whatnot. Verse 2. And the Lord said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. Verse 3. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground. And it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. Just like an Israelite, man. Because I know a lot of brothers and sisters, they scared of snakes. They scared of spiders, man. Yeah, a lot of them scared. Some of them scared of dogs, man. And that's how like we fell like far from our glory, because we used to play with the snakes and all type of animals or whatnot. But Moses, he ain't never seen nothing like that. He threw his rod on the ground and that mud turned into a serpent. But verse 4, and the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. So Moses had an option. He could have listened to the Most High God, or he could have kept on running, man. But verse 5, that they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, had appeared unto thee. So it's always going back to that bloodline, our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But verse 6 is the point. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. So this is going into like basically the Most High God wounding him in a sense, because he gave him leprosy for like a split second. And like also showing you that the Most High God, he can easily wound you and he can heal you. He did both of those in this chapter. But reading on. And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. So basically, that's a, that's so many ways you can go about that. Like let you know that shalom, but going into like how he was of a man of color, because if he put his hand in the first time and he came out leprous, then he had to have a color whenever he had took it out. And then when he put it back in, he was like his other flesh, going into him being a man of color. But also showing you that the Most High God, he can heal as well in that instance. Or even going into like how him wounding David for doing his transgression or whatnot, giving him a loathsome disease. You know, later on, he was wanting to heal from it. Or like even going into Cain, whenever Cain had killed Abel, he had wounded him with leprosy. But going on to the next topic, the Most High God healing. So we're gonna go to Mark 8:22. This is the book of Mark, chapter 8 and verse 22. Verse 22. And he cometh to Bethsaida, I think that's what he said. And they bring a blind man unto him, and besought him to touch him. And he took the blind man by the hand, and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his eyes, and put his hands upon him, he asked him if he saw aught. So this is going into like basically Christ healing a blind man. Whenever he had spit on his eyes, the man he could see again. And then when you read on, verse 24, and he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. So you know that's a sense of Christ healing people, or the Most High God healing people. Verse 25. After that, he put his hands again upon his eyes and made him look up, and he was restored and saw every man clearly. And he sent him away to his house, saying, Neither go into the town nor tell it to any in the town. So you know Christ is letting once upon a time blind man, hey, don't let nobody know that I did this for you, man. Showing his miracles and showing that he could heal. Even going into like whenever he spoke out in the synagogues or whatnot, or even us bringing up to today, when we go out there teaching our brothers and sisters, we are doing like healing, not to the extent that we once did, but you know this word is what healeth all things. We can get that too. But we're gonna go to Isaiah 61:1. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 61 and verse 1. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He had sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prisons to them that are bound. So we're going to read that from the top. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. So like binding up could be like fixing, or it can go into like healing or whatnot. To proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. So going on to the next topic. Well, yeah, that's it. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16 and verse 12. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16 and verse 12. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health, but thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things. So like even going into like how we have herbalists, or like even these pills, like the mollifying plaster is going to like the pills and stuff that we be taking or whatnot. That's not what heals us, because We could take that all day long, but if we don't have the faith of the Most High God that those things can heal us, or having the faith in Him, then it's all for naught or whatnot. Because the Most High God, He feels like you basically putting those things above Him. Yeah, He made them, but you putting that above Him, and then you know how it says that the Most High God, He's a jealous God or whatnot, because you basically turning that thing into a God when you putting all your faith into the herbs and the pills and stuff that help you. But going on to the next precept, Sirach 38 and 12. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 12. Then give place to the physician, for the Lord had created him. Going into the same thing, we know the Most High God, He created the doctors and nurses and stuff or whatnot, because that's one thing that the Most High God, He had put on this planet, for His glory, of course, just like how Yahweh Shah, whenever He had healed people or whatnot, it was for the Most High God's glory. And yes, the king is always gonna get glory too, but again, he never exalted himself above the Most High God. But let him not go forth from thee, for thou hast need of him. So basically, even whenever you have some type of disease or sickness or whatnot, the Most High God, He's letting us know. And you could say that, but going back to it, He said, "For thou hast need of him," because the Most High God, He letting us know that whenever you dealing with something or whatnot, go to the doctor, man. If you having shortness of breath, like, go to the doctor, because you have need of him. Because the Most High God, He created them or whatnot, but He never said put them above you, because like whenever you do that, that's going back into the same thing. You basically put man before the Most High God, but that's going into like a brother that's keeping the commandments or whatnot, because brothers and sisters that's out there in the world, they gonna put their faith in man, but then you see what happens on the outcome of it. But jumping down to 15, because it's the flip side of it. He that sinned before his maker, let him fall into the hands of the physician. Read that again. He that sinned before his maker, let him fall into the hand of the physician. So all these brothers out here, smoking, hey, hoeing out the sisters, and so on and so forth. Hey, you sinning against your maker, so the Most High God, He gonna put it on the physician's heart to either kill you, give you, make you overdose, or not, make sure the man don't know what he doing, or so on and so forth, man. So it'd be wise for you to keep the commandments whenever you do have health issues that come. Even going into like the younger ox or whatnot. Yeah, we heal faster or whatnot, but the Most High God, He could put some on us too, man. But with that, I say shalom. And the law that we're gonna get for today is Leviticus 28 and 20. Shalaki 23 and 20. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 20. Oh, hold on, Israel. Shit. That guy had wrote it down wrong. It's in Leviticus though. I'm just getting another law, man, cause I think I had wrote it down wrong. But we're gonna go ahead and get Deuteronomy 4 and 5. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land, whether ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. And shalom, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. So this is even going into like, you know, with us keeping the commandments, and like whenever we apply these things and we do like inherit the kingdom again and like overtake all these things, even the other nations, they gonna be in order because they gonna be like, hey, this is a wise and understanding people. It's gonna be like peace with everybody. Before we had to, whip them to submission beforehand. But verse 7, for what nation is there so great who had God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for it. Verse 8, and what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day? Verse 9, only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. So more of the story, we got to teach the next generation to come or whatnot. Yeah, I'm the younger generation or whatnot, but we talking about the generation even after us or whatnot. But hey, with that, I say shalom. I hope that all you brothers and sisters that's getting up for the plantation or whatnot, hey, deal with your brothers in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Hey, if Esau, with him, hey, try to keep peace with him too. Because the Most High God, he will fight for you. He'll put some on Esau too. Because just because he running the world don't mean the Most High God can't get him as well. Or not. Hey, we appreciate the prayers that y'all throwing up for Captain Maccabees. We ask that y'all keep on throwing them up. Let the prayers pierce the clouds or whatnot. But with that, I say shalom.